Hello and welcome to the next round in the rlor tournament. I'm sorry for not uploading it for a few days now, but I had a very important work project to do, and I said before in my announcement that if I have some real life stuff to do, I will take a break from making YouTube content because of reasons, you can watch this video. And I'm back and will continue to analyze these last few games from the rlor tournament. This one is now a few days ago, or a few weeks even, but last week wasn't anything special. We just played a normal gauntlet tournament, which isn't really that interesting to watch. So instead, we will continue to look at this tournament. It has some crazy games in it, and you can definitely stay tuned. And I will continue doing content for sure. However, I will sometimes have to take a break in between. So sorry for that, but let's continue with the video. Here we are in round 2 and we face Kelban. Kelban is a pretty regular participant in these tournaments and I faced them once before and I lost, I think. So time for rematch, and Kelban brought some interesting decks. The first one being a Bandle Tree deck, classic list, Gnar, Poppy and Rumble, and then all the cards you would usually put in. Interesting is the Bilge Wall edition instead of Shurima, what I went for. And Petty Officer makes sense, just summons a random guy. Iron Navigator summons a random guy, and you can get lucky and hit the Bandle Tree with it. Overall, a pretty solid deck, not much to say about it, tries to win with Bandle Tree. In the middle, we have a very classic deck, the Feather Rush Trundle, however with Ionia, makes sense because you want to run Deny in this format, is very good. And Mina, Windsinger, just all the big cards, and a pretty standard deck, what I would have expected many people to bring for this format, just ramp and go big. And on the left side, I found that one very interesting. It's an aggressive deck, which has the one of this naturalist to blow up any landmarks, and then just full on aggressive 6 severe Darius. And I really like this deck, and it's a very creative way to approach this format. Not just go super big or super control-y, but also have an aggressive list. For our lineup, we specifically target these slow rampish decks, but we kinda lose to the aggressive versions, so I decided to ban out the aggressive deck, the 6 severe Darius. Kelban banned my Bandle Tree deck, so we had the other two, and from the other two you know by now that my Karma TTF deck kinda turned out weirdly, so I just wanted to get the free win with my Yuumi Pantheon Taric deck. Kelban queues up with the Feather Rush and Trynda, so they don't really have any way to interact with us. They have like Will of Ionias and stuff, but we have a full deck of spell shields just to protect our units, and they will never be cost effective against us. And we will just go big if our game plan continues. Just a very efficient combo deck. We will just have the gigantic attached unit, and there's not much our opponent will do about it. For the opening hand, we have this one. You can pause and think about what you would keep in this matchup. I decided to keep my win condition, Destiny's Call. The Minimorph will not be necessary in the early game, and Papercraft Dragon will also not be very good because they will always have something on the board. I like the Aloof Travelers just to get rid of a Feather Rush, but Minimorph, Papercraft Dragon are not necessary. Once again, we just start immediately with the turn 3, because in this format you can't play anything before turn 3, so it would be just a waste. Okay, turn 3, I draw a Fetching Zellercorn, run it out. I love that it's possible to play this card in this format, and it's actually quite strong. Opponent plays a Wording Stones, starts the ramp, we get in for 1 damage. And yeah, decent start for both of us. We hit our 3 drops, and it's all about, we have all our combo pieces. We have the Rainbow Fish, we have the Destiny's Call, so not much opponent can do. Just have to be a little bit careful maneuvering. Here, just run up my Aloof Travelers. Nothing else to do really, and you get rid of a Harsh Winds. Very good to see 2 Harsh Winds in the opponent's deck list. So 1 gone means less freezes, less burst speed ways to pop our spell shield. And yeah, ramp going on, already at 8 mana, our opponent. We just open attack, we don't want to just show them that we don't do anything for our 8 mana. Trundle comes out, totally fine with us. And we just suit up our Rainbow Fish with the Destiny's Call here. And now we have the big 10-8 overwhelm. If you missed it, the attach units keep their hand buffs, so if you give them like -1 cost and ephemeral, they keep that even if they get recalled. So there's just really no way for the opponent to ever get rid of this unit. Trundle comes out, or the Ice Pillar, and flips Trundle. We don't really care about taking some damage or losing the Aloof Travelist here. Only thing I'm afraid of is like some big stuff. Feel the Rush here would be pretty devastating. That's why I also decided to pass and keep open my Minimorph. And I think if they had Feel the Rush here exactly, we would have lost, but we tried to play around it. We know that didn't have it before with the Aloof Travelers. And we see only +1, so only 1 8 or more cost card here, which is very, very good for us. Means that we don't have to fear anything coming out, like any Itted Stairs or something like that, but that's not even in the deck, I think. No Trynda Mirrors. So we know that we are safe here to proceed. A little bit of healing, but we don't really care about healing in the end. We will just kill them with the big elusive and a stun popping off our spell shield. Opponent is going very wide here, has a lot of units on the board. However, with our passing here, we could have just put the spell shield on right now. However, that's not really necessary. I just went to the next turn and just have all the mana available. And here comes the big attach. And we just make an 11-11 elusive lifesteal, which, even if it gets recalled, just stays in 11-11. And we go in with the attack. And Kelban finds the second Harsh Winds. So no lifesteal here for us, but we're still at 17. So not the end of the world. Of course, you can't stop a burst spell with the barrier, because it's burst. And I rounded my Yuumi here just as a blocker. We want to make sure that they, like with Trundle, they can always vulnerable you around. And if they pull the lifesteal unit on the right, they might even get a lethal. So just spend your mana, play your jump blockers. We don't really need a Yuumi anymore. We have our win condition on the board. And we are in a very good spot. There's no way they get an open attack in. Trundle could do a lot of damage, but not really. Okay, the Scattered Pot, now they're already enlightened, so big elusive, can block us for a turn or two. A little bit of a roadblock. I'm not sure what they would go for here, maybe for the return to hand, but once again, even if they return our attached unit to hand, it will keep the +8/+8, so we can just develop both of our units again. Just running our Taric here, another blocker, and here comes the challenge to the right side with our lifesteal unit, so we have to make sure not to die to something random. We see opponent being at 7 mana, so no more Battle Furies or something like that. And yeah, just take the obvious blocks. I'm not sure, but I think I'm checking the decklist here to see if there are any fancy combat tricks. And of course we have to block here. And I decided to play it safe. Also block with the Yuumi. Don't really need Yuumi on the board. We have our win condition. And we don't really have to worry about another Frostbite here. There is no both Harsh Winds are gone. There is no Three Sisters in this format. No Flash Freeze, anything like that. And we take the block. And in comes a Homecoming. Of course, that one will never work out because we have an infinite amount of spell shields. I'm using the Friendship spell shield here because next turn I want to maybe use the Taric. And Taric profits more from having the +1/+1 over the Friendship spell shield. They don't run any like big damage, any like deal 10 or something, so the barrier will never be useful. And the Friendship is just a strictly worse version of the barrier here. We pass. Next turn should come around quite soon. There is nothing really to do here other than pass the turn. And no more Ice Pillar, no more Vulnerable. We could make another unit big, and I think I will. Not sure exactly what my line was here. Of course, it's very hard to lose. I just think I pass around my spell shield with Taric. And this, of course, tempts the opponent into blocking because the Taric is a very high priority target. And that means they run exactly into a Minimorph. And double spell turn is coming, or at least considered here. I wasn't sure at the moment what spells are happening. Of course, you can stun the unit. I don't know about the order though, because they could have just ordered it differently and recalled our unit at least. So we had to replay it. This way, the Will of Ionia breaks the spell shield, and we only get stunned. Keep our unit though. Of course, you can't go double spell shield. That just is not a thing in this game. But they're running low on cards. They just have the one face up now. And a Lighted Marine, of course, doing nothing against our deck. We are super big. We might lose our Taric here, but Taric is just a champion to put in because he didn't know anything else to put in. Another Ice Pillar. We don't really have to do anything yet. We could just let it go to our turn, but building another big elusive unit would also not be the worst. And yeah, there's just not really any counterplay to this strategy, just gigantic lifesteal units. You go for another big elusive, and just burst pass. Always want to see what the opponent is doing first. And they just ramp up, get a little bit more mana, a little bit more life. Of course, not the card you want to have in this situation. You want to do something more proactive. And we just go in with our double elusives. We just suit up our one Fletching Corn with the lifesteal. And yeah, it's just a very fun thing to do. I always love my Destiny's Call. And then we know we have lethal. They can't play any more units here. They don't have any harsh winds left. So just go in with the double elusive, which will be game. And yeah, this Attune deck or attached deck has definitely very overperformed here. For our next matchup, we bring our measly Karma TF deck versus Feel the Rush again. And this one is quite a slugfest. Let's take a look at the mulligan first. And once again, you can pause and think about what you would keep in this matchup. I decided to only keep Deny. Of course, Deny very strong against Feel the Rush. You can just counter one of the primary win cons. However, the Abyssal Eye, a little bit slow. We don't really have the treasures yet for the other guy, and Sunk Cost also too slow. We really want to find our Mara Great Mothers, our combo cards here. Jumping right to turn 3. I start with Averting Stones, we start with Troll Hunters. Again, Troll Hunters very good here because you can take down these pesky ramp cards or any very aggressive champions early on, or like a Misfortune, Severe, whatever. Just the piece of interaction for 3 mana is really powerful. Trundle comes out anyways, and we are under quite a bit of pressure. However, we have our My Great Mother Seps Raven combo already, which is very good. And we just have to hope to find the good spells here, the strong spells. Trundle comes in with an attack. I don't think I jump block, or maybe I jump block, I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter because we will have a bunch of units anyways. I think I just decided to go wide, maybe push some damage. I didn't really super focus in this game. Like I said, I just played this tournament to have a little bit of fun. Even going for the River Shaper here over the Seps Raven, because I wanted to keep my Deny open in case of like an Avalanche, for example. It was probably not necessary at this point. We want to save our Denies for the Field Rush. And I'm a little bit AFK here, thinking probably about if I want to draw. Probably that's what should be the bad choice. I can't believe they still don't have any hand trackers here. Go for the toss. Toss, of course, doesn't matter. We lose 1 Deny. Only have 2 left, but find our Karma Abyssal Eye. Once again, the problem of this deck, way too many cards in the hand and no way to get rid of them. And we draw our first 3-cost spell, a pretty garbage one, the Ricochet. And this one will just not be of value. However, in the second draw, we find our Legion Marauders. And I'm going to double check the deck. I don't say anything stupid, but they don't have any avalanches, so we can safely go for the Legion Marauders. This is the big upside of an open decklist format. You don't have to guess what your opponent has. You can just take a look. And normally you would be afraid of avalanche, but if you know they don't have avalanche, you can be happily running out the Legion Marauders here. And we are in quite a pressure position. They can jump block one of our guys. We will block one of our guys. We will hook array the Trundle and get a double buff. So the 5-6 will be left at a 5-1 and a bunch of damage. And Kelban decides to go for a Will of Ionia here. Just alleviate the pressure a little bit. I, of course, still run in with my units. and just decide to go for the big attack here. And next turn rolls around. We didn't draw, like River Shaper drew us a deny here. Second deny is very good. And Trundle flips. I said before, I kind of hate these casters that only say the things that happen on the screen. But sometimes there's just not that much going on. I prefer just talking about random stuff than just leaving it silent. Maybe tell me your opinion in the comments. Do you prefer me just perma-talking or just not saying anything when there is nothing happening? Twisted Fate should be a pretty obvious choice here. Just stunning the Trundle, preventing a bunch of damage happening. And just one card that can be played without losing our whole hand. If you go for like a sunk cost, for example, they can just deny it. And I always want to keep up some spell mana here, because they could still have some big effect in general. Now the Scattered Pot, this will stop our elusives in the future and will be quite annoying. At this point I kind of feel like falling behind. We didn't have our big power spike with the Maya Great Mothers. Both of our spells were kind of medium, or like the Ricochet was garbage, the Legion Marauders were kind of medium. And I'm considering playing out the Legion Marauders, but I just go into the next turn, always keeping the spell mana open, which is just giving us more options. And again, our hand is full. Half of our cards are kind of useless here. We don't need to draw more spells, because the hand is full. We don't need the 8-cost spell. I decide to just run out the Abyssal Eye here. I don't have any elusives yet. However, you can get Enlightened mid-turn. So if the opponent would play a Catalyst of Aeons here, the 5/6s would, or the Scattered Pots would turn elusive in the middle of the turn, despite not being enlightened at the start. In general position, I think we're a little bit losing. They are 13 life, but they have a bunch of life gain, and in comes Mina. And here I definitely have to use one of my denies to not fall behind on board that much, and still have a chance. But it doesn't look good anymore. Just too good of a curve. I kind of underestimated how powerful and tempo-y this deck is. We draw full to 10 cards again, which is kind of garbage, or 9 cards I think it is. I'll have to count. Yeah, it's 9 cards. And in comes another big attack, taking out our elusive and the other 2 elusives. We of course have to block. And I decide to, I think, block with Twisted Fate. No? What? Yeah. Block with Twisted Fate, because River Shaper can still draw some kind of win condition, a 3-cost Ruination for example. But it's not looking good. Here I kinda just want to get my Karma going, I think, but maybe I play the Great Mother first. Probably play the Great Mother first, just to shuffle in more targets. And this is kind of the turn where I misplay. Not sure what I'm waiting for. Sorry for that interruption. But yeah, a lot of options. Like I said, just go for the Mother Great Mother first. And then comes the Field Rush, and I kind of make a misplay here. I'm like, I lose anyways. I have to find some sort of big value here. I have to develop Karma here. If I play Deny, I can't develop Karma. And I let this resolve, which is definitely stupid in hindsight. But I thought I couldn't win anyways against the Trundle if I don't have my Karma on the board. And next turn Karma will be too slow. I have to play out my Karma here, which definitely is a medium to bad decision, I would say. And the main problem here is that our garbage Karma fills our hand again. So we could have we will draw a treasure here in the treasure trove. Spoilers. Oh, we don't. Oh, we have the double Lost Riches here to draw this treasure trove. So with Lost Riches, it checks on resolution if you have treasures in the deck or not. So the first one will shuffle in the treasures, the second one will draw the treasures. So it's quite a fun combo. And I was hoping for like a Keel Breaker here, double kill anything, and then we can maybe sunk cost the Trynda or something like that. Find a treasure trove, but that's the garbage part about the deck. We can double treasure trove, but it doesn't even do anything, because we just have our full hand. And yeah, that's a little bit of deck building mistake. Too much value can hurt you as well. I'm thinking about options here. We can try the Ricochet, we can try healing with the Ritual of Renewal. We can heal for 14, but they have just way too much overwhelm damage here. And they're considering my options. Jump the Waters is what I go for. Maybe get a surprise lethal with some kind of overwhelm damage. And Ricochet, that was my first plan. Just deal 3 here with this guy, and then if we're lucky and hit 5 to Nexus, we can still win this. However, in comes a Homecoming. Homecoming doesn't actually counter the Jump the Waters. Jump the Waters can be played without a target and doesn't get countered if a target gets removed, one of these cards. So we still get our 2 Shark Tooth, but of course we don't really have a good target anymore to challenge here. And after some animations, Kelban destroys my dreams. And we kind of chat a little bit. It's very fun. All of these people are very nice. And you shouldn't be afraid to join the tournament. They're always just nice guys, no real bullies around. And I was of the opinion that I should hold my deny. And as you can see, probably a misstep afterwards. I usually cut out these chat parts, but I think this one was quite interesting to see. And here comes the Blighter Ravine. This just completely crushes my dreams. And I just show them the Ricochet and will concede soon after. I didn't face this Freljord and Ionia deck very often. And the Freljord Shadow Ice deck is just fully reliant on the Field Rush, whereas the Ionia deck has other game plans as well. And yeah, this is just going to be game most likely. I still play it out, let my opponent attack. Blighter Ravine comes in, leaves us at 3. And just way too much damage. I decide to just see what I draw. And get the cool animations of Trundle. You see, he gets +8, +1 attack for each 8 cost unit. And I just decide to meme a little bit, draw some cards, Emperor's Divide, Ascended's Rise. That wouldn't have been helpful either. And yeah, that's just game. So, for our last matchup, it's forced what we bring. We have to bring our Karma deck again versus Bandle Tree. And I think we are a little bit better against the aggressive decks. They don't really have any way to deal with our powerful spells. They don't have any denies, for example. And if they don't immediately high roll us, we should be fine. For the mulligan, this would be my starting hand. What would you keep? What would you put away? I decided to only keep my Great Mother. They don't have any target for deny whatsoever in their deck. Or maybe just like a random skill. Let me check. Keeper's Verdict and Buster Shot, but those are not really cards I'm worrying about. And we don't need card draw, as you saw in our deck. I decided to keep my 1 sunk cost as an answer for Bandle Tree. They're very fast in completing it. And let's jump once again, immediately to turn 3, where we have our Troll Hunters again. They play out a Babbling Balladeers. Getting the token, and as you can see, I'm keeping track of what my opponent's Bandle Tree progress is. In the top right corner, you see Poppy, Gnar, and Rumble, and also me chatting a little bit. So the first turns are pretty straightforward again. We play our Great Mother, we play our Zep's Brayfin, and just hope to find something. And if you're wondering what the top right thing is, because there's nothing else to talk about, it's hand tracking. You see an opponent's hand one card that they kept, and you can see on the left side that's just the card they drew right now. Kind of lucky for them that they get the Ionia Pogo here, with the Ionia card already being there. And you can see me now adding the dices to the Bandle, or the Bandle Tree tracker, and I'm now at 3 out of 10. And the highlighted cards in the middle of the hand are cards they kept in their opening hand. I also keep track of that. Turn 5, we have kind of an even board, but it's now coming down and back again on who draws the bigger spells, who gets the bigger effects. And Gnar comes out. I'm just going for my Zep's Brayfin. Pretty sure, yes. And we hit as our first spell a Feel the Rush, which is quite convenient. And I can't really complain anymore about getting lucky or unlucky. My favorite emote, the Garen emote. And here comes the 3-mana Feel the Rush. It's not even that good in our deck. We just have some vanilla 10/10s, but it's better than nothing. And they can just jump block forever. However, 3 mana double 10/10 is not something to complain about. As you can see, Feel the Rush pulls from both the deck and hand and doesn't really prioritize. I think it's random. Didn't really test that much. But here it pulled our Karma from our hand and a TF from our deck. And of course, no deny. All they can do is like keep his Verdict them away, or the Minimorph, but that will be a tempo deficit. They will spend 6 mana, whereas we just spent 3 mana getting them out. And we are in a quite good position. They are forced to jump block. I notice I'm missing one of the guys here. I go for the Gnar level up. Makes sense. Nothing to stop this. And I think I'm adding this now exactly. The 4 costs, or the rlor now completed. Banditry 4 out of 10 here. Gnar transforms, our favorite animation. And we get a lead and follow. Quite a useful card here. You can't run these cheap recall effects in your main deck. So Karma drawing it for us, very fun. And I'm channeling my inner ace and drawing another Seps Brave here. Also quite lucky. Forced double jump block. It's not really forced double jump block, but they take 10 damage otherwise. Just get them now off the board. Maya comes in. Of course, looking for that banditry completion, but we can deal with one banditry with our sunk cost. We don't have the mana quite yet, but they also don't have the mana for banditry anymore. I just at 4 out of 10. I'm not that worried anymore, or yet. I think I just go for another Seps Brave here. After tracking like the face-up card now, you see it's should be the Bandle City symbol. It just signals I have one Bandle City card, or like the Bandle City multi-region card. All multi-region cards are Bandle City, but not all Bandle City cards are multi-region. And here comes Rumble. Only discarding one card. I found that a little bit greedy. Or maybe it's necessary, I'm not sure about that. But not giving the Space Shield on Rumble seems scary at least. And we got the Unlicensed Innovation, the 6 mana make a 5/5, which we can just play eventually. I'm completing my battle tree here. You see Noxus now, and 5 out of 10. And I don't know what I put on the Rumble. Decided to just put some treasures in the deck. Not really sure why. Not really that necessary, but I don't think you can really lose from this position unless you just tap under battle tree or sunk cost mana. You get a rush. Quite a fun combat trick here. And in comes a Rumble attack challenging my Karma. I just let it happen. The trade comes in, don't even have quick attack. And just go for another spell here. And we find a Shifting Sands, 3 mana, and go for 6 mana, deal 4 damage, summon 2 Sand Soldiers. Bomber Twins gives another progression on Bandle Tree now. And that was the created card. Now they have created a landmark, which will be showing up momentarily. It's quite a hassle hand tracking these random Bandle Tree decks, Bandle City decks, but it's very important that they know what kind of resources they have available and what they don't. Poppy comes out. Now another one, and we are at 7 out of, camera kind of cuts it off a little bit, I think it's 7 out of 10. I decided to just go for Shifting Sands, destroy the Poppy here. Double Sand Soldiers, and we will eventually grind them out with our late game, our Karma, etc. As long as they don't have like double Bandle Tree in the hand, we shouldn't be in a position to lose ever. Double Mayor gets a bunch of cost reductions, but the sooner they drop their hand, the sooner we can deal with it. And Field Promoter, Arena Promoter, for 4 mana 4/3, discard 1 and make a Mecha Yordle, discard their landmark and make a Mecha Yordle. I think I missed one card here, one of the multi-region cards in hand tracking. It's not always perfect because it's like taking a lot of effort and mental thing. And now we see my fancy Mecha Yordle drawing. Karma comes out, and I remember when I made Karma Prismatic, mostly for Power of Champions because I like playing Karma there. And Buster Shot, we can interact with it with the lead and follow, which probably is quite tilting to get a recall spell here from Karma, but yeah, we will just drown them in value. The only way he could win is with the combo card with Bandle Tree, but we have an answer for that as well. Big attack coming in, bunch of jump blocks, and we get some elusive damage. I decided to go for the kill on the Battle City Mayor, just emptying my hand a little bit. We don't have any good uses for Rush later on. Don't know if it's relevant at all, I don't know the hand. But yeah, Popcorn, Karma gets us another card. And Loping Telescope comes out, just generates a random card here. You can now also see my Loping Telescope icon soonish. Here it is, Loping Telescope. By the way, you can see what Loping Telescope generates. If you didn't know, if you watch very closely, you can see which card they click on. It's like only 1 or 2 frames, so you have to be extremely aware of that. But yeah, interesting coming in with a powder keg here. I don't really see the explanation for that. Maybe just for a buster shot. It seems to be like the only target for the powder keg here. Maybe it's just a misclick. I can't really tell what the plan was behind that, or I couldn't tell. Aloof Travelers discards our 7-cost guy on our sunk cost. And now I'm actually a little bit in panic. If they had the battle tree right now, I would be in trouble. However, I decided to bluff. They still have the sunk cost and they just take the pass. And now we find our plate worm egg. And this will be hard to deal with. However, I just go for the keel breaker first. And clean up this whole board. Now with our sunk cost gone, I'm of course in a position where I can lose. Didn't really consider the Aloof Travelers. And I remember it being surprising to me in the game. And now even in the post commentary, it's a little bit surprising. But yeah, that cleans up the whole board, and then our plate worm guys will just be able to do enough. Little Dipper will not be the impactful card here that is needed. We summon the 3/5/5 fearsomes. Of course, Little Dipper was to complete the battle tree. They are at 9 out of 10. And I think they just play it out here, if I remember correctly. So 9 out of 10 in battle tree. Or is it even 10 out of 10? I think it's 10 out of 10 actually. Yeah, here's battle tree, so 10 out of 10. And we luckily have another unit here in the innovation. And very close game. Definitely after losing the sunk cost, we could have lost. But we just have quite enough damage for our final lethal push. And yeah, this deck was so much fun to play. But a little bit awkward constructed at some times. And that's going to be this match. We were victorious versus the Kelban and proceeded to be 1-1 in the whole tournament. GG Kelban, always fun to face you, and yeah, see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.